Welkom terug by die Groot Ontbyt. Ons praat nou met iemand wat baie tale praat. Ja, dis 'n poliglot, sê hulle. Ek het gedog dis daai ding met seeraak as jy snors, maar dis blykbaar 'n poliglot. En hy's ook 'n sosiale media-persoonlikheid. Sy naam is Austin Scheiwe, sê hy. Scheiwe. Ons moet Austin kan ons vertel. Good morning, Austin.
Good morning. Good morning there. Good to see you.
Lovely to chat to you this morning. Austin, obviously, we can't ignore the fact that you have a very strong American accent straight off the bat. So please tell us, where do you come from?
Yeah, I'm originally from San Diego, California, down on the West Coast.
Yeah.
But I've lived in South Africa now almost 8 years.
8 years. Why did you originally come to South Africa?
You know, that's a great question. I moved here to be part of ministry. I originally intended, my wife and I, to stay about 4 years. And then we just fell in love with South Africa, and we've been here much longer than expected.
What would you say is South Africa's strength?
Yo, that's a great question. South Africa has many amazing strengths. I mean, apart from being incredibly beautiful, the people are definitely the strength. It doesn't matter where you're from in South Africa. I've met, in my experience, people from many, many backgrounds are very hospitable and kind and friendly. The people in South Africa are amazing.
Okay, so now we've spoken about the strength, and thank you for that compliment. We also love the South Africans. What do you think are some of the strangest things that South Africans do? I know you recently spoke about, people eating rusks dry, but what are some of the other strangest things that you think South Africans do?
Strange things that South Africans do. That's a tough one. South Africans aren't that strange. I think you guys are just a really friendly, fun-loving bunch. Let me think on that for a moment. Yeah, strange things are, I guess, some of the funny things you say, like "eish" and the fact that and things like that. I guess the vocabulary.
Austin, jy praat ook baie tale. Vertel vir ons, hoeveel tale praat jy?
Ja, ek praat 4 tale. Ja, ek praat Afrikaans, ek praat Engels, Chinees en ook Spaans.
Hoekom wou jy spesifiek Afrikaans leer praat het? As 'n Amerikaner wat nou Suid-Afrika toe kom, hoekom wou jy Afrikaans leer praat het?
Ja, dis want ek bly in Stellenbosch. Ek dink wanneer jy bly in 'n nuwe plek, jy moet die taal leer. Ja.
Well, and now you're also learning Xhosa, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, ndiyavuya ukukwazi.
What is more difficult, the learning the Xhosa or is Afrikaans?
It's Xhosa because there are fewer language similarities, and it's a bit more challenging to conceptualize the vocabulary, but it's also easier in some capacities because I've found more immersive environments for Xhosa, which means that I can find myself in places where everybody is speaking Xhosa and everybody is speaking Xhosa to me much easier than I can with Afrikaans in Stellenbosch.
You also say that you are passionate about people connecting with each other. Is that the main drive behind you trying to learn all these languages?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I like to say that language is the quickest way to confer dignity on other people. When you take the time to learn someone's language, you're telling them that they're important, that they're worth getting to know, and that you're willing to meet them on a place where they're an expert and you're not. And I think that's a really valuable message to bring to people. Especially when you're a visitor in a country. I think that speaking to people in their native language, it shows a level of humility. You're going to sound a little bit silly. You're going to make mistakes. And you're going to, in the process, be telling them, you know what, you're worth getting to know, and I want to know you.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think even if you can just greet someone and perhaps ask how you're doing in their native tongue, immediately their reaction to you very often is softer, it's different. They're kind of more open to start a conversation with you.
Absolutely. That's been my experience as well.
If you have to think about Afrikaans now, as an English-speaking person, what are some of the strangest words that you've heard that you just think, these are really strange words?
Yeah, you guys have some fun words right off the top of my head. The word, what is it? The name of that town, twee buffels met een skoot, mors dood, geskietfontein or something like that. And then I love the word for kleermannetjie, color changing man. And I recently learned that you call a zip line a foofy slide, which just makes me laugh. That's funny.
Now that you mention it, it is a little weird. But one of the things you've also mentioned is that you think South Africa is a great place to raise children. I mean, a lot of us are very negative about, about the future for our children and the spaces we have to live in and all of that. But on the contrary, you say South Africa is a great place to have children.
Yeah, in my experience, kids can be kids in South Africa, I have a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old, and they run around without their shoes on, and they explore, and generally people in South Africa are very live and let live, so they're not bothered by children. They can be fun, and they can have fun, and they have a lot of ooms and tannies running around, It's a great place.
Austin, as someone that is actually from overseas but have immersed himself in this culture for the past 8 years, what would your message be to elke Afrikaanse Suid-Afrikaner, enigiemand wat hier bly? What would your message be?
I think you have a lot to take pride in South Africa. It is a country with a lot of challenges, of course, as is every other country. I come from the United States, and it has a lot of challenges, as we all know. But South Africa has a lot going for it. And, it's a lekker plek with lekker mense. And I think you guys, you should take a healthy level of pride in the fact that you have this nation, and it's beautiful. And you guys are awesome.
Austin, you are the best thing that happened to us this entire week. Thank you so much for your optimism and for your positive energy. And I think it shines a light on all of us. And I think we can all be a little more positive and think outside of ourselves a little more. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Will do, thank you. Daar sê Austin Scheiwe, né? Wys jou. Jy moet ophou, wel ek moet ophou negatief wees. Dis begin eers by my. Ek moet ophou negatief wees oor dinge. Mense van buite af sien dinge anders as wat ons wat hier bly dit sien, en ons moet begin agterkom wat ons het in hierdie land. Ja, daar's foutjies en probleempies, maar die mense. Dit gaan op jou en oor die mense. So reik 'n bietjie uit. Leer 'n bietjie hoe om hallo te sê in 'n ander taal as jy nie kan nie. Dit sal die lewe dalk vir jou en die mense rondom jou 'n bietjie meer aangenaam maak.